Hey, and welcome to the latest video blog. It's great to get your questions through. As I mentioned last time, a little quieter because it's summer. So if you have a question and want to get it through, probably a good time to do it now. You can go to Motormouth Canada on Facebook. That's probably the easiest way to get through, and people seem to like that because you can put longer form questions in there. The first one comes from Mike Cicerelli. And he says, hey, Zach, looking at all-wheel drive sedans and wondering why Honda hasn't introduced an all-wheel drive version of the Accord or the Civic in Canada. Do you think it's a business decision to make consumers buy up to Acura and get all-wheel drive while also getting the reliability of Honda? Thanks. That's from Mike. Well, yeah, it's probably one of the main reasons is that you have that differentiator in price for all-wheel drive. If you watch my review of the TLX, the Honda Accord and the ILX, I mentioned some of those factors. And the main thing about the TLX over the basic Accord is that you get that all-wheel drive. But if that's not important to you, the Honda Accord might just be a better buy at this point. What's going to happen, though, in my opinion, as we get going forward here, more car companies are going to be introducing all-wheel drive into their non-premium brands. We're going to see that next year with Volkswagen. It's going to introduce all-wheel drive in the Golf and Jetta platform. Subaru continues to grow its market share month after month because it has all-wheel drive. And one of the main reasons why the Subaru Legacy won the Automobile Journalists Association of Canada's Car of the Year is because it's an all-wheel drive vehicle. So as more all-wheel drives get introduced into non-premium brands, the competition is going to heat up. And eventually, these brands that do have premium offerings, Toyota has Lexus, you have a Honda with Acura and Infiniti from Nissan. You're going to see that more and more. I don't think anything is in the works right now, but in the long run, it'll probably happen. Patrick Hubert says, hey, Zach, longtime viewer of your TV show and really enjoy your YouTube channel. Question is with the Lexus IS. Are they going to put the new 2-liter turbo and get rid of the 2.5-liter V6? Lots of rumors that it's a done deal, but no announcement yet from Lexus that I can find. I'm leaning towards an IS 350 as my next car, but would gladly wait for 2016 and try the 2-liter turbo if that be the case. Thanks a lot and take care. Okay, Patrick. Well, of course, Lexus has invested a huge amount of money, and I don't think people really appreciate when a car manufacturer introduces an all-new engine. So they have the 2-liter turbocharged direct injection engine from Lexus. It's their first turbocharged direct injection engine that they've come up with. And when you invest all of the research and development that goes into making that engine, and then in the case of Toyota and Lexus, making it ultra reliable, and that's why they've waited so long to introduce a turbocharged 4-cylinder when almost everybody else in the market, especially the premium space, has these engines. They said to me that they're going to wait off and hold off until they can make it as reliable as a Lexus needs to be. Right at the very top of Consumer Reports, right at the very top of JD Power when it comes to quality. So there you go. So when you make that massive investment, we're talking hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars into an all-new engine that's going to last 10, 20 years, you can almost bet it's going to spread throughout the entire lineup. And that IS would be a perfect candidate for that because the 2.5-liter V6, in my opinion, is underpowered. And the great thing about turbochargers is you can tune them differently with the kind of boost that you have in order to get the best application. If it's in an SUV, you want more low-end torque. If it's in a sports car, you maybe want more high-end horsepower. So that's something they can do. So nothing official yet, but if I was a betting man, I'd bet on that. Francesco Orcharilla, hopefully I said that right. Hey, Zach, video blog and reviews, keep them coming. One question on the next video blog goes back to your comment on the Honda about the tried and true tested 6-speed transmission. And that's one of the reasons I said maybe the V6 Accord high-end top touring model might be a better buy at $35,000 instead of getting the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged TLX with the new 8 and 9-speed automatic transmission. What's your opinion on the hidden flaws of other manufacturers are having with different technologies like dual clutch and CVT. Hasn't been much talk in the media regarding all the issues Nissan has had with the CVT and the Pathfinders, or Ford with numerous issues with the double clutch transmissions and the Focus. Reliability on these technologies, in my opinion, is yet to be proven. Thanks. And that's the main reason why I said that maybe that Honda Accord with the proven 6-speed automatic transmission might be the one to get, because you do have that tried and true V6 engine, 6-speed automatic transmission that has been working so well for them for a long, long time. They went from 4-speed automatics to 5 and now 6-speed, but it's a variation of the same thing. And yes, there have been problems with CVTs. You mentioned in the Pathfinder it was knocked on the nose because of initial problems with the CVT. In the latest Pathfinder, yes, Ford with the Focus with the dual clutch has had problems, but other companies have had very good success with CVT and with dual clutch. So it all comes down to the individual application, which is one of the reasons why when I talked about the Honda CR-V, it used to be my top pick in the small crossover segment, but they switched it last year to a CVT, and I wasn't totally enamored with the way it drove, and I wanted to wait and see what's going to happen with that CVT. And sure enough, there's been all kinds of problems come out with the Honda CR-V because of vibration coming from the direct injection engine matched to that CVT. So I always take a wait and see on these things. I wouldn't be an adopter of brand new technology when it first comes out. I would wait a year or two to see how it does in the marketplace and then jump in. So that's my answer to you. If you're looking at a particular model, has the CVT or the dual clutch been out for a while, and how has it performed in the marketplace? Next one comes from Peter Norris. Your videos are great and I really enjoy watching them. My question to you is, what do you think of electric cars? Are they here to stay, or is it simply a passing fad? What do you think the future holds for the way of power in our vehicles? Thanks, Zach. Keep up the great work. That's from Peter Norris. Well, electrification of the automobile definitely is here to stay. Pure electric vehicles are still a tiny fraction of the auto market. Less than 1% of all vehicles are electric or even hybrid. The vast majority are gasoline, and with the new technology that's being implemented in gasoline engines, making them lighter, we'll use that Ford F-150 for example, 700 pounds or 318 kilograms lighter than the previous F-150 with a smaller turbocharged V6. They're able to get better fuel economy. So there's still lots of ways to optimize the gasoline engine. Then you head over to diesel, and diesel engines have fantastic fuel economy and fantastic power and fantastic long-term durability and fantastic resale. That's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of diesel. What's going to happen? There's going to be a very small percentage of the market that wants to adopt full electric. Like Tesla, for example, seems to be doing a great job in the premium space. Nissan is doing very well with the Leaf. I think a lot of people are holding off on the Leaf right now, waiting for the next version to come. Chevy Volt is coming out very soon with the second version of that, and we're going to see more and more. The Soul EV won the AJAC Green Car of the Year, so there's going to be more and more of these vehicles introduced, but still a very small. If you think these are big numbers, you go to places like California and you see Teslas all over the place. Don't get sucked into thinking that they're popular everywhere, because they're not. What's going to happen more and more though is we're going to have mild electrification of cars, meaning cars that plug in, drive for 30, 40, 50 kilometers on pure electric, which for most people is a daily commute, and then has the gasoline engine available to them in a hybrid form to help ease the amount of fuel you use, which is really the Chevy Volt idea. And I think that, in my opinion, is the best all-rounder in the lower price range until we can get pure electric cars down in price and with the range. Now, I am not a huge fan of the PR machine from Tesla and some of what I call nonsense that they spout about their ability to produce a Model 3 for $35,000. I guarantee you that a 200-mile range Tesla Model 3 will not be $35,000. It might have a starting price at $35,000, but the average transaction price with features in it, an upgraded battery, and all the things that people are going to want is probably going to be closer to $50,000 to $60,000. We'll wait and see, but that's my bet. So mild electrification of the car is what we're going to see in the short term. We're going to see more and more of that. Marcus White says, hey, You said video questions are slowing through the summer. Yeah, I thought I'd get mine in. Good. So that's good. If you want to get a question, once again, go to Facebook, Motormouth Canada. Can you compare the Golf Sportwagon and the V60 Volvo in terms of interior space and driving feel? Which you consider to be the best overall value? Thanks. Well, if you're looking for straight up value, the Golf Sportwagon definitely has more value. That starting price at around $24,000 comes very nicely equipped. It doesn't have all-wheel drive yet. It'll have all-wheel drive for the 2017 model year. So this September, a year from this September, they'll start introducing all-wheel drive versions. It is available with diesel, where the Volvo isn't, and is a much cheaper car than the V60. But the V60 is a premium interior and has all-wheel drive, and especially when you get the higher performance versions, really is a fantastic driving machine. So you're comparing a non-premium brand with a premium brand, or a premium brand. Volvo, I'd say, is premium, especially with their pricing. So I really, you're going apples to oranges on these. If it comes to interior space, I still think I give the Volkswagen Golf the nose on that one. Maybe the back seat is bigger in the V60, but you can easily go on the websites and have a look at the specs and see for yourself which has more interior space. Coming up, I'm going to have a question and answer about Consumer Reports, and it's a bit of a pet peeve of mine with Consumer Reports, so stay tuned for that. The next one comes from Juleps. It says, I'm a recent grad in my 20s looking to purchase a vehicle this coming year. I'm looking for something fast and sporty with all-wheel drive. Build quality is very important to me. I live in Michigan, where the winters are brutal with lots of snow. A little bit of luxury would be nice too. My price range is $25,000 to $40,000, preferably new or lightly used. I drive automatic only. I've already ruled out a 3 Series due to exterior looks. Well, one car that is being sold off right now, if there's any left, which is a kind of a funky looking car, but has beautiful build quality, built like a rock, wonderful, sporty, and powerful, is the Acura TL, not the TLX, the TL. They're replacing the TL with the TLX, and there's still some kicking around. And if you get it with the super handling all-wheel drive with the 3.7 liter V6, it is a bulletproof. It is nicely finished on the inside. Not the best looking car for some people, but that's one to consider. Now we'll go to lightly used. What about an Audi S4? That would be an excellent car for all-wheel drive capability. And if you're looking for new in the 25 to 40,000 range, what about a Subaru WRX? Not very luxurious on the inside at all, really quite plain, but is going to be a lot of fun to drive for a young guy in his 20s, just a recent college grad. It's kind of a cool car for that age group. Definitely a vehicle that young people aspire to own and would be a great choice. So yeah, a bit of the boy racer feel to it. If you wanted to, you could go up to the STI with the WRX and get something even more expensive. So that's something that I consider. Maybe a Golf R that's coming out this year would be another one. Volkswagen Golf R with all-wheel drive and fun to drive, but would be definitely one to consider. So people, put your comments below if you can think of a car as well. This last one is about Consumer Reports. You mentioned Consumer Reports may have a bit of an agenda. I've always thought this myself. It seems like Japanese makes have been favored forever. And now Tesla seems to be the new Consumer Reports darling. I'm not really sure that it's a reputation that is being earned yet. Can you share your feelings on their rating? Now, first of all, I want to commend Consumer Reports for doing a lot of the work that they do. They do studies on cars. They do studies on appliances and toasters and electronics and all those things. But what they do with the automobile category is they buy cars and they test them, which is great. It's very independent. They don't have advertising that's telling them what they should and should not say. And they also lean heavily on the 8 million subscribers that they have. Now, these are people that subscribe to Consumer Reports to get the latest, basically, reviews on things like what's the best dishwasher or washing machine or microwave oven or electric lawnmower or whatever it is. And typically, people that subscribe to these kinds of services are typically a little bit older and conservative and probably Caucasian for the most part. So you have older white conservative group that's skewing a lot of your study. Now, when it comes to cars, what kinds of cars do those people typically buy? Well, if they're looking at, if you're a subscriber to Consumer Reports to find out what the latest is on your dishwasher, you're probably not much of a risk taker. Now, people that subscribe to this kind of service are thinking to themselves, I want maybe an appliance type car as well, one that you just drive and you do zero with. And in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why Consumer Reports always does so well with cars that are a bit soulless. They always do well in terms of reliability, but they're not passionate kinds of cars. When you look at J.D. Power and Associates, for example, they've had Porsche near the top of their studies, initial quality study and dependability study, over many, many, many years. Now, typically, somebody that's into an appliance type car isn't choosing a Porsche. They're choosing a Prius or a Camry. And now the favorite seems to be the Tesla. And they're looking at it as a wise, sensible thing to buy, much like, is this the best dishwasher? So it's the psychographic of the Consumer Reports subscriber that heavily influences the results. So that's why I always say Consumer Reports is great at picking a very reliable, safe, and kind of dull car. Not to say that the Tesla is dull, but a lot of the cars that you look in their top lists are really kind of dull. And then when you look at other studies about which kinds of cars are the most aspirational, which kinds of cars deliver the most enjoyment, which kind of car do you aspire to own, none of those kinds of cars really are in there. Once again, the Tesla might be the exception. So you look at the differences between J.D. Power and Consumer Reports. The Porsche is a perfect example, shoots right through the roof in terms of reliability on one study and doesn't even show up in the other. So I think that Consumer Reports does a good job of, you're looking for good, reliable, basic transportation. If you're looking for something over and above that, first of all, you never see youth brands scoring very high, and you never see performance vehicles scoring very high. So it's interesting to see that Consumer Reports is sort of preaching to the choir. The people that subscribe already believe in that mindset, and Consumer Reports is feeding the same kind of opinion back to the people that already believe it. So that's why I think Consumer Reports studies are kind of flawed. It's a very thin slice of the populace that's giving feedback to them. J.D. Power just surveys average owners, doesn't matter what their background, where they're from, how much they make, or whatever. And I think they do a pretty good job in some of their studies, but when you cross-reference them with Consumer Reports, I think you get a pretty good overall understanding. So that's my thoughts on Consumer Reports. All right, thanks. If you have an idea on them, make sure you put a comment below. I'd love to hear them, but I've never been a total fan of Consumer Reports and the way they do things. Get your questions in. Motormouth Canada is the Facebook page. I'm Zack Spencer. Speak to you next time.